Okay, Robert, you got your transmission up here at our Roseville Rebuilding Center, and this is Jeff. He's our resident rebuilder.
Hi, Robert.
And Jeff will just kind of show you what we found. I just want to start by showing you what we found at our Woodbury location when we did the pan examination. There's the pan, and you can see all the chunks, a big pile of metal shavings in the pan and the burnt fluid, of course. So Jeff will explain where that metal came from and what we're going to have to do to get this thing back in good working order.
Robert, as you can see, I did a total tear down of your transmission, disassembled it, inspected it. So at this point I do know where the source of metal came from and why the car wouldn't move. And it came out of the torque converter here, the fluid coupling between the engine and transmission. And what has happened is inside the torque converter here, a bearing has failed. I test that by putting my snap ring pliers in and moving it up and down. I should have very little travel. I should have about 1/3 of this amount of movement. So I know a bearing failed. So we definitely need a torque converter replacement. But as you can see with all the metal, fluid's always circulating between the torque converter and the transmission. So all that metal's been flushed through the transmission. So in that process, it has damaged the pump, which is one of the most important parts of the transmission, kind of like your heart. It manages all the fluid, applying the clutches and stuff. All that metal, it's kind of like a liquid abrasive, has scored and scratched the surfaces that have to be very smooth in order to operate properly and not continue to make metal contamination. So what happened then is all that metal gets into the valve body, begins to jam the valves. There's valves that stroke back and forth in the bores and redirect fluid through the passages that apply the clutches, and the other process is the lubrication. And here's kind of the end result. Here's some of the sets of clutches. This is your forward clutch used in all the forward gears, and it's totally destroyed. There's no friction material left on some of these plates at all. The steel plates are burnt and scored. Same with this set. This was what a good friction material looked like. You can see these are much blacker and darker. There's heat spots on the steels. We have metal impregnation in this friction material. So you need an overhaul kit with all the friction plates and some of the steel plates. That kit also comes with all the gaskets and seals that we need for the transmission. We also need some bushings. The metal's gone through the bushings. They're replaceable sleeves in all these different locations. And what I do is press those out and press in new ones. And a few of them are upgraded. There's an upgraded one for that location that I install. Of course, you get a new filter. Here's this plug solid. That metal also scratched the governor here. The governor rides in the case. It spins. It's driven by the output shaft. And this is scored, and we have a lot of fluid leakage there. The governor actually runs in the case in this bore like so, and there's a screen that protects it, but the screen was plugged. The case is scratched up, but it's not really worn, so I can polish that bore, and we will replace the governor. I've mic'd this one. It's worn down 3/1000ths. That's below tolerance, so we'll put a brand new one in there that measures 800 thousandths, which is what we're looking for. A lot of the other parts are still okay yet. The input shaft, we had the same issue, scored pieces from the metal transfer, so there's no way I can fix that, so we need to replace the input shaft. I press it out, press a new one in. Everything else gets just cleaned and washed. Like I said, the converter gets replaced. I think
Valve body.
And the valve body here, it's kind of like the brains of the operation. And what I do with the valve body is, other than take it apart and clean it all up, I run it through our ultrasonic cleaning machine. But I do install what's called the systems correction kit. That's a kit, shift kit is a term you may have heard. And it recalibrates the shift timing of the transmission, also increases hydraulic pressure that goes to the clutches and bands. It also increases it to the lubrication circuit, which lubricates the gears, shafts, and such, and increases converter charge pressure. There were also actually a couple parts missing out of the transmission from last overhaul, which I'll replace and put it together properly. So, but other than that, yeah, we can fix you up, get it all together with new parts, and clean it all out nice and thoroughly, and get it back in your car, and it'll work better than new. So, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Jeff.